Hi, I'm Ken Childers, and I'm a special ed student in Fort Wayne, Indiana at the very nice University of St. Francis. I'm just about to complete my first course in special ed. It's been a really interesting and exciting experience. I was a little skeptical, but the course turned out to be far better than I was expecting, and it covered a rich array of areas and topics. And I just wanted to share a little bit in the way of concluding thoughts about what I've seen during the course and how it will benefit me in the future. One thing that we look at in the class very intensely is what I call the multiples. Multiple means of engagement, multiple means of representation, and multiple means of expression. So students can say things and express things in different ways. For that matter, students can be interested in and learn things in different ways. And teachers can, of course, present things in very many different ways. I think that's so valuable in a period when not only is the United States becoming more diverse, but on top of that, our society is becoming a little bit more, I don't exactly want to use the word fragmented, but a little less centralized, a little more free form than maybe it was 30 or 50 years ago. So, reaching out to students in different ways, using different methods, sometimes to teach the same thing, sometimes teaching different things is very important. I've even made a promise, and it was partly based on what we had done with the multiples in the course I'm taking. I've made a promise to my new principal at the high school where I'm going to be teaching functional skills that I will absolutely have different ways of presenting the material, innovative and creative ways, hopefully a lot of it physical or kinesthetic. A lot of functional skills kids are very movement oriented. He seemed to think that was really a good idea. It's a pity that we can't have more community-based learning like we looked at in the text, but we can sort of do something that is still pretty good, even if it's not out in the community, because we are lucky enough to have a greenhouse. We have an old greenhouse that I think I'm going to take charge of rehabbing, and apparently we could even do some outside gardening and or composting if we wanted to. So that's just an idea. In my background, I'm a specialist in diversity and multiculturalism. I kind of did that at the early part of this millennium in my human resources degree, and I really enjoyed that field, and I used it a little bit later on in my career, just a little bit. But nonetheless, getting a refresher course was really useful to see what's doing in diversity, especially what's doing in an area of diversity that I had definitely looked at, but not as intently as other areas, which is kids, diverse learners. I found that the whole panoply of diverse learners, some under the rubric of disabilities, some just under the general category of differently abled or differently styled kids, like for example alternative kids. Just getting the general background on that in this course was extremely useful, and I think it's wonderful that the course integrates diverse learners who might fall under the category of disabled under the ADA and others who don't. I liked that very much. Finally, to talk about the third thing that I found really valuable about the class that I'm taking is just getting to know the vocabulary and how we talk about special ed, how we talk about education, how we talk about diversity and diverse learners. There are too many terms to mention. My own word list had almost 200 terms on it by the time I was finished. But to give an example, dual track kids. There are lots of those. I've had kids like that in my classes. Dual track kids apparently have a disability but also have a gift. So I thought that was really neat terminology that I had never heard before. There were lots of little terms like that. And I've got my glossary to use in the future. I also think that knowing this terminology a lot better will help me in collaboration with all of my colleagues. We're a pretty big department at the high school where I'll be teaching. There are about 6 of us. 5 of us are teachers, and 1 of us belongs to a local social services agency. not to mention all of the paraprofessionals who will be helping us. So it's really been a valuable course, and I very much look forward to mining all of the little and big ideas that I've gotten from the course over the next 2 to 5 years at my high school job. So thank you very much, Professor Oberly.